Okay, so we've been very diligent about getting follow-up sonograms, but son of a gun, the patient came back and the mass persisted. We considered or even did alternative imaging like CT or MRI and didn't really dispel the notion that it was a neoplasm, in fact enhanced the notion that it was a neoplasm, or we saw features which strongly suggested that we were looking at an ovarian neoplasm. We've done everything we can in the algorithm to follow up. So is it finally time for us to make a judgment as to whether we're looking at a benign ovarian mass or a malignant ovarian mass? And the answer is we're getting closer, but we're not quite there yet because we have one other consideration. Basically, for the last, whatever, the period of time, I've been teaching you about the morphologic assessment of ovarian masses. There's another school of thought, and that is the school of Doppler assessment, which is based on the absolutely, positively true statement that malignant lesions develop neovessels. Those vessels are abnormal, including abnormal arterioles, and these abnormal arterioles have very poorly formed muscular walls, unlike normal arterioles, and therefore they can't squeeze down and mount resistance. Furthermore, we know that it is ridiculously easy to measure resistance with an ultrasound machine. We find an artery, we take a spectral signal, we measure the resistive index. It's 30 seconds of work. We can definitely measure the resistance quite easily. So is measuring the resistance the issue? Okay, here we have a lesion in the ovary. We measure the spectral Doppler signal from its wall. It's high, so we're thinking, well, probably benign, but I hope that as you look at the lesion itself, you see, well, it's a unilocular cyst, and these are fibrin strands within it, so you know it's a hemorrhagic cyst. So not only do you know that it's benign, you also know that it almost certainly will go away by itself. So, is Doppler the solution to deciding whether lesions are benign or malignant? And the answer is no, for many reasons. But the most important is that Doppler cannot be thought of as being independent of morphology. Morphology is always obtained first. Can you imagine instructing your sonographers, if you see a mass in the ovary, under no circumstances take a picture of it. Simply find an arteriole within it, measure the resistance, write the number on a piece of paper and put it on my desk. Idiotic. No one would do that. By the time you see the first resistive index, you have already formed a morphologic opinion about the mass. You've already given a lot of thought, and you already have an opinion. So the question is not, can Doppler separate benign from malignant lesions? The question is, does Doppler add anything to the morphologic impression that I've already formed?